She laughed when I said I wanted to start hitting the gym. It was a Tuesday night, and we were sitting on the couch eating takeout. I remember it clearly, not because of what she said, but because of how she said it. A half laugh, half snort. Dismissive. Like I'd said something absurd, like I just told her I wanted to become a runway model or take up figure skating at 38. Why? She said, wiping sweet and sour sauce from her lip. You hate the gym. I did. Or at least, I used to. But something in me had shifted. I looked in the mirror that morning and didn't recognize the guy staring back. The softness under my chin, the way my shirts fit tighter around the stomach. It wasn't just about looks, it was about how I felt. Sluggish. Foggy. Like I was drifting through life instead of living it. I don't know, I said, trying to keep it casual. Just tired of feeling like crap all the time. Thought it might help. She hummed, non-committal. Then went back to her phone. That was the end of the conversation. Or so I thought. 2 months into my new routine, I'd lost 12 pounds and was starting to see definition in places I hadn't seen in years. My energy was better, my mood more stable, and I felt, God help me, proud. Not because I looked amazing, but because I was finally doing something for myself. And yet, something in her was changing too. Or maybe it had already changed and I was just catching up. She started coming home later from work, brushing me off with a quick kiss and a vague excuse. I figured it was a busy season. I didn't want to be the insecure husband who made accusations without evidence. I trusted her. That trust began to crack the night I found her phone buzzing on the bathroom sink while she was in the shower. It wasn't intentional. I was grabbing aspirin, and it lit up. A message from someone saved as Greg, workgroup. Just a string of laughing emojis and one line. Does he still think the treadmill is helping? My heart thudded. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. The implication was enough. My wife and this guy Greg were talking about me, laughing about me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and listened to her soft breathing beside me. My mind kept playing tricks, replaying every joke, every eye roll, every moment she made me feel like less than. And I started wondering if there were signs I had missed or ignored. 2 days later, I broke. Not in a loud, dramatic way, just quiet. I asked her, in the kitchen, with the hum of the fridge in the background, "Are you talking about me behind my back?" She froze mid-sip of her coffee. "What? With your friends? Greg? Whoever? Are you making fun of me?" She gave a light laugh, that same one from the couch. "Babe, are you serious?" "Yes," I said, and my voice cracked a little. She looked at me, finally really looked at me, and said, "God, you're being so sensitive lately. It's just jokes. You're not exactly Mr. Fitness." The air went still. I felt something twist inside me, like the last thread of something had snapped. I didn't say anything, just nodded. She walked away, muttering about how she had a meeting. That was the day I made a decision. Not just to keep going to the gym, but to start paying attention. I started noticing things. The way her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. The way her phone was always face down. The sudden shift in how she touched me, less often, less tender. Like she was withdrawing bit by bit. And then came the night I found the messages. I had to look. I knew I shouldn't have, but something in me needed answers. While she was asleep beside me, I took her phone and went to the bathroom. My hand shook as I typed in her passcode. The texts with Greg weren't just jokes. They were cruel. Mocking. Page after page of private jokes at my expense, about my body, my gym progress, even the way I made her tea in the morning. But what hit hardest weren't the words. It was the photo. A selfie of the two of them in bed. She was holding the phone. He was asleep, or pretending to be. The timestamp was from a night she said she was at her sister's. I sat on the edge of the bathtub and stared at it until my eyes burned. Everything stopped making sense. My best friend, the guy I'd known since high school, who stood beside me at our wedding, was the one she was laughing with, sleeping with. And I was the punchline. It felt like someone had dropped a cinder block on my chest. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't rage. I didn't cry. I just walked back into the bedroom, lay down beside her, and stared at the ceiling until the sun rose. I had always thought betrayal would come with a bang, a shouting match, a dramatic exit. But it came quietly, with texts, with laughter, and worst of all, with silence. The morning after I found the texts, I got up before she did, showered, dressed, packed a gym bag, and left without a word. I stood under the weight rack for 20 minutes, staring at my reflection. I didn't lift anything that day. I just needed to be somewhere other than home. Somewhere I wasn't a joke. I didn't tell anyone for a while. Not even my sister, who always seemed to know when something was off. I was too ashamed. I felt stupid. Naive. I was the guy who believed in his marriage while his wife was texting his best friend about how pathetic his protein shakes were. But silence is a strange kind of fuel. It either burns you up or makes you sharp. I chose sharp. I started keeping records, backing up every message, every photo. I created a folder on a cloud drive, one I could access from anywhere. I didn't have a plan yet, but I knew I couldn't know what I knew. And I couldn't pretend the man in the mirror wasn't changing. 3 weeks passed before I saw Greg again. We were at a mutual friend's barbecue. I hadn't told anyone yet, and there he was, smiling, handing me a beer like nothing had happened. I looked at his hand for a second too long before I took the bottle. "You look good, man," he said. "The gym's paying off." I laughed. Really laughed. Because now I could hear the double meaning in everything. "Yeah," I said. "It's amazing what you can accomplish when you stop trusting people." He tilted his head, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. But I didn't give him anything more. Just walked away. Back home, she was distant. Always on her phone. Always tired. I didn't try anymore. I just watched. And then, one night, I couldn't hold it in. I sat her down at the dining table. The same place where we used to plan vacations and talk about our future. I looked her in the eye and said, "I know." She blinked. "Know what?" "Greg." "The texts. The jokes. The picture from the hotel. All of it." She didn't deny it. Didn't cry. Didn't even look surprised. She just leaned back, folded her arms, and said, "So what now?" That's when I realized. She wasn't sorry. Not really. She had convinced herself I was the problem. That I was weak. Laughable. Replaceable. I stood up, pulled my phone from my pocket, and tapped the screen until the photos came up. I turned it toward her. "You mocked me. You betrayed me. And you made me the fool in your little comedy show." Her face twisted for the first time. Not with guilt. With fear. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I already did it," I said. See, what she didn't know was that 3 days before that conversation, I'd had coffee with Greg's fiancée. I hadn't planned to, but after staring at her face and the Christmas card pinned to our fridge, something inside me snapped. She deserved to know too. She was kind. And when I showed her the texts and the photo, she didn't scream. She didn't even cry. She said, "Thank you." They broke up the next day. Greg's life started to unravel quickly after that. His fiancée told their church. His boss. His parents. I didn't ask her to, but I understood why she did. As for my wife, my ex-wife, soon enough, I filed for divorce the next week. Irreconcilable differences, but she knew what that really meant. I moved into a small apartment near the gym. It wasn't much, but it was mine. No mocking laughter. No secrets. I kept going to the gym, not out of spite, but because it reminded me I could still choose something. That I wasn't finished becoming someone new. One night, months later, she texted me. "I miss you." I stared at it for a long time. Not because I believed her, but because a part of me still hurt. Still remembered the good days. Still wanted to believe she had once loved me. I didn't reply. Instead, I put my phone down, laced up my shoes, and went for a run. Just me, the pavement, and the silence she could no longer touch. I learned something through all of this. People who mock your growth are usually terrified of their own stagnation. They need you small, predictable, weak. But once you step beyond that frame, once you stop being the joke, you realize something. You were never the problem. They were just afraid of what would happen when you stopped laughing along.